How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and this is a 7 Days to Die Horde Night video. I thought I would just put it up because I've been playing the game quite a bit, but I've not really found a way to tie it into what I usually do on the channel. So, as you might imagine, it's a little bit of a time sink at the moment. I would like to do something with it, so I think these Horde Nights are especially interesting, or more interesting than a lot of the rest of the gameplay. So the idea, for those who aren't aware of what 7 Days to Die is, it's sort of a sandbox survival game where you have to build bases and stuff and defend it against the 7-day hordes. As you can see, that's kind of what's going on over here. This is day 42 or something, so we're into it a bit already. And this is another 7-day horde, so these come out at night, and you have to prepare your defenses the best you can to hold them off. So what we have in my defenses here, this is sort of a little tower that protrudes out of the ground, about 4 blocks high. It has metal poles, or I should say reinforced concrete poles along the sides, which give me some area to shoot through, as well as access, loot from the dead zombies. And then on the face of those poles, we have spiked blade traps. Those are powered by a gasoline generator. Now, the zombies can't really reach through the poles unless they're actually underneath it. When they're standing up, they really don't seem to be able to get me. But one of the big dangers in a situation like this, of course, is that the police officer zombies, they spit a corrosive stream of acid, and that will damage my blade traps. So about halfway through this entire thing, I had to go down and get additional supplies to go ahead and actually repair my blade traps, because the police officer zombies, that one that's standing there right now, he just took an L, but they will damage them much more than any other zombie will. And I would have lost them if I hadn't gone ahead and repaired them. So this was a little bit of a different idea, putting them on the vertical instead of horizontally on the ground. I did a different video where I was just testing them out and stuff. Like, this one's legit. The other one was completely a sandbox kind of thing. But this is legit, as in I ground my way here. We actually worked our way here because I was playing this with somebody else. So that was sort of how I got into it. And I'm repairing the spike traps from underneath now. It's one of the benefits to this setup here. The spike traps, by the way, are upside down, because that way when the zombies walk over them, they still take the same amount of damage, but they don't bob up and down and whatnot. But I'm taking some damage here that I didn't expect to take, because while the zombies can't hit at anything when their legs are knocked out from underneath them due to the spike traps, or I think they're called spike traps. Sorry, I had to turn off the air conditioner. That thing gets annoying sometimes. And I sort of lost my train of thought in the process. Oh yeah, the zombies can hit you from underneath the bottom pole, but at the same time they can't hit the bottom pole. So the bottom pole is safe, but you're not if you stand too close to it, because they'll try to crawl underneath the pole to you. And the biggest danger, of course, is to get a radiated police officer zombie. And I did get a couple of those towards the end. The reason that's dangerous is because they heal. And, they don't, any damage they take, they'll gradually heal it over time. So you have to deal a massive amount of damage to them. And I'm not sure if I didn't have these blade traps, if I would have been capable of doing that. You can see police officer right there in the background. In addition to that, and I probably should have mentioned this sooner, the electricity you see is caused by an electric fence. So there are a couple of fence posts placed on basically around the perimeter of my base, and when the zombies walk through the wire, they get electrocuted. The fence posts are really nice because I've never seen a zombie target the fence post exclusively, providing you keep it out of its way. So it's a really great way to deal some stun damage, hold them back a little bit. And then they're also standing on my spike traps at the same time, so they're taking some damage from the stunning electricity. They're taking some damage from standing on the spike traps while they're being stunned. And it's all around a pretty good thing because it holds them back and deals damage. And there you can see I went ahead and repaired the blade traps because they took about 50% damage, so they're halfway done for. And if they are done for, it's going to be very hard to replace it because they're on the outside. I might be able to do it from in here, but it would be difficult, and then I would have to hook it back up again. So all of these electric things are powered by a gasoline. I think it's a gasoline generator. It's a fueled generator. And since the only fuel in the game is gasoline, we're going to assume it's a gasoline generator. In the gasoline generator, you can put engines, and that determines how much wattage it's capable of outputting. Right there, you can see a radiated spider zombie. Much like any other radiated zombie, it's going to be capable of healing quite quickly, as opposed to regular zombies which don't heal. So you always want to target those, make sure that you take them out, because otherwise they won't leave. But in regards to the generator, the idea behind it is that you fuel it with gasoline, and then you connect its wires to various appliances that require electricity to operate, usually traps, and away you go. Now for this night, I completely fueled it. It holds 1,000 gas, the generator itself. Completely fueled it, and by the time I was done, I think there was I'd used about 10% of the overall gas, and the entire setup here is pulling about 260 watts, I think. So it's not something you want to run all the time. And that's the reason I kind of like the setup that I did here, where I have regular, there's spike traps, and then there's another kind of pointy trap. I forget. Anyway, the wooden spike traps, the ones that are exclusively wood, I put those around the perimeter for regular hordes, so that way they can't make their way to the blade traps that are spinning here when the blade traps are off. Right, there's a radiated zombie, or a police officer. It's going to be a little bit hard to take down. As you'll see, a lot of slicing and dicing there. And like I said, the police officers by themselves are pretty strong, but when they're radiated, they also heal at the same time. But he was no match for the blade trap. He didn't blow up. That's one danger, quite frequent. I don't think he blew up anyway. I would have thought that if he did blow up, he would have dealt more damage to the actual structure, but I just saw some damage done to the blade trap, so I imagine he was hitting that. And something about the electricity. Oh yeah, so I was saying, during the normal hours, like when it's not Horde night, I don't have the blade traps running because obviously it's going to be consuming gasoline. And so I had this idea to just put those regular pillory kind of spike traps in front of it instead. So that way, your average wandering zombie or zombie horde that comes along during non-horde days, which is of course the majority of them, you have a really easy time of it. All in all, you can just have those up there. They'll stop the zombies from coming. They'll kill them off, and they won't touch your blade traps, and you don't have to worry about keeping them running, which of course costs a fair amount of gasoline if you're going to keep this entire setup running 24/7. I think this is the last radiated police officer. This is probably the best one. And for those wondering why the color of the screen looks like this, it's because I'm using night vision goggles. It changes the hue to be very blue. So that's why it looks like that. And I think it's better than using any sort of lighting, especially if you want to demonstrate to other people what's going on, because otherwise it's really dark and it's very difficult to see, even with the zombies being electrocuted. And if you have some light, I suppose you could have some lights up. Probably would look better. More colorful, at least. But I think that's pretty much the entire night. So that was about 10 minutes it takes. The hordes run up until from like 2,200 hours to about 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. It doesn't last very long, so it's very intense, but it doesn't last too long. And this is the farthest I've ever gotten in 7 Days to Die. So I guess that's why it feels important to me. It feels like a little bit of a milestone. The waves of zombies during Horde nights are of course getting harder. This is what it looks like without night vision goggles on. But the waves are getting harder. But overall, haven't died to them yet, so that's a good accomplishment. And this is in the wasteland as well, so that of course makes it a little bit more difficult as well. The wasteland's like one of the most difficult places to be in. So I think that pretty much covers it for the Horde night. Just doing a little bit something different here. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you next time.